Are you a coach who's tired of drowning in complex marketing strategies? Welcome to Simple Client Attraction for Coaches, the bite sized podcast that transforms how women coaches attract their ideal clients without the complicated systems or endless marketing tasks. I'm your host, Sandra Fidelis, and each episode I bring you straight talking conversations with successful coaches and industry experts who share their most effective and simple client attraction strategies. Subscribe now and discover how to fill your practice with dream clients in less time than it takes to enjoy your morning coffee. And today we have Melanie Benson, Authority Amplifier for Expertpreneurs since 2000, you all. She is the ultimate OG. She shows experts how to stop being a best kept secret and amplify the reach of their lighthouse message through her Authority Accelerator and Ripple Makers Mastermind. She's host of the Top 1% podcast, Amplify Your Success, is author of Rewired for Wealth and Entrepreneurs.com Startup Guide to Starting an Information Marketing Business, and has been featured in Authority Magazine, Bloomberg, Business Week, Women's Day, and Parenting. Discover more proven strategies and resources at melaniebenson.com. And today, Melanie is speaking to us about 4 visibility barriers that keep coaches in best kept secret mode. So welcome, Melanie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, so let's chat a little bit about this issue that I think a lot of coaches, let's just say most coaches, run into, especially when they get started. Why do so many of them get trapped in the best kept secret mode and end up losing clients to the flashier marketers?
Well, I think there's a couple things that are going on for a lot of coaches and, anybody in the expert space really. And that is marketing's probably not your most favorite thing. I have a saying that if they can't see you, they can't hire you.
Right.
And I think if most coaches could have their wish list and they, do the magic fairy wand, they're like, I just want referrals to come in. If I could just get somebody to send me clients, right? Because that's you do what you do and your coaching turns the magic on. But if you kind of go into visibility mode, maybe you don't really know how to do that. And so you're not shining your light as bright as you could. And so what I find is there's a lot of coaches who are invisible in the marketplace. They don't have a consistent presence. They don't have a clear brand positioning or some kind of message that we go, oh yeah, you do this and here's who you do it for. And so when people go looking for coaches or they go looking for solution to their problem, they're not really seen as the expert that should be hired because they're still kind of waiting for referrals to come their way or just don't have a visibility strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if I don't know how many times I've heard, can somebody just do the marketing thing for me? Right.
Always, we've all said that.
Yes, that would be amazing because we started coaching to be coaches, right? Can you unpack? I know that you say there's 4 visibility barriers. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah. And I really, what it is like the invisibility is because you have some unconscious hidden invisibility barriers. And there's probably more than these 4, but most people could probably notice one of these being true for them. A super common one is what's known as imposter syndrome or the fraud syndrome. And this one is often, and by the way, like it doesn't really seem to matter how sophisticated someone is in their coaching business. Like these can crop up. Sometimes you're hitting new levels, you're shooting for bigger, bolder goals, you're ready to grow and amplify the reach. And these can come, barreling back into your reality, right? But the first one being imposter syndrome, that's this idea that you're probably comparing yourself to other people. I'm not where I should be. My message isn't polished. I don't have this right. That's not ready, whatever. And so you get into your head and you think, I'm probably not good enough at this. That's a pretty common one. It's also, it oftentimes shows up in your logic brain, convincing you that you're not ready or you're not capable. And so you create safe goals, right? Or you do safe strategies and you just wait for things to be different. The second visibility barrier that I see, and it has a few different forms, it's just fear. The fear of not being ready, the fear of worrying if it will work. Like, what if I put my eggs in this basket? What if I put this strategy forward and it doesn't work? Like, what will people think? I mean, fear is really prevalent. And the more noise that's going on around you in your world, your industry, and your social relationships, the more the people you hang out with are in fear, the more contagious fear is. And we start to let fear make all our decisions for us. And I can usually tell when somebody comes into my Authority Accelerator program if they've got a fear that's holding them back, because they'll have all kinds of really rational reasons why they haven't done things. Okay, so fear is a
Right.
big one. The third one is internal conflict. So that means there's a part of you that wants to be more visible or wants to be, working with more clients. And there's a part of you that doesn't because you're afraid of something that might happen. And one thing that I see unfolding a lot lately, because the more I specialize in this visibility, container of helping people elevate their message, the more I see this, and that's a fear of being too bold in your message. Can I
Yep.
really say this? And so authentically, this needs to be said, but there's so much concern about what might happen if you really put that out there that you kind of pull your message back down, you dim your light, and then you're not seen.
Right.
So
Mhm.
it has no buzz and momentum to it. Last one,
Mhm.
really quick, is not knowing how. And this one's actually probably the most common of all of it is like, I don't really know how to get the right visibility opportunities, or I don't really know how to monetize my message in a way or get my work out in a bigger way. So you actually lock yourself into a busyness pattern where you create the illusion of progress and momentum, but really what you're doing is you're just kind of in this little rat race of chasing things that don't pan out very well. And
Mm.
so you get trapped in this, well, it isn't going to work for me anyway. And then that kicks in some of those other visibility barriers. So those are four of the most common ones that I've been seeing.
So the visibility piece, like, can you share what some of the visibility like strategies are that you teach?
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting. I'll just own this. Like I started, because I got trained in as a coach very early on, like in 2000, 2001. And I was like floundering too. It's like, I don't know, what do you do to be seen? Back then we didn't have social media. And
Mhm.
what I did was I started to study the most successful coaches and consultants and trainers in our space. What were they doing? And they were being seen
They were
as the
speaking.
authority. Yeah, on
Mhm.
stages.
Yeah.
That was the thing we knew how to do. And then there was a whole new thing called teleseminars and
Yay! Do you
speaking
remember
clubs.
Instant Teleseminar?
Yes, I had the
Oh my God,
account.
I loved it.
So, and I just feel like today what happens is there's so many visibility strategies. People are like, well, which one's right for me? I'm a huge fan of simplifying effort to multiply results.
Yep.
And one of the things that I feel like pretty much anybody can do at any stage is be a guest on podcasts. Now, there are, yeah, like right here, right now, we're doing this. I have a podcast myself. And what I know is that you have to optimize your message. You really want to make sure you know how to be a great guest and really bring something that has that magnetic quality or the lighthouse message that we've talked about before. And yet, there are so many podcasts out there that can help you get in front of new audiences that it's a really simple way to start moving that forward. That social media and podcast guesting together, it is a very powerful authority trifecta. That really starts to help right message, podcast guesting with social media presence, huge.
Mhm. I love that. I love the podcasting idea. And it's, to me, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Once
Mhm.
you get that message, dialed in, who doesn't want to talk about their favorite topic and share it with people,
Right.
So,
Exactly. And
so
like
when,
you can be so magnetic and so like just being you and authentic, your right clients in front of the right audiences are going to really go, "Oh, yeah, she or he, you're speaking to me." Like that's the quality we're looking for.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who's like, okay, I'm open to it. I'm open to
Mhm.
doing that. But the imposter syndrome that you talked about is rearing its ugly head. Like how do they work through that mentally?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you asked that question. I actually have a client right now who's going through my program, and I mean, she's been in business a really long time. So she's not an imposter. She knows what she's doing. But when it came to bringing her message on podcasts to build her authority and to get her, expand the reach of her work in the world, she kind of froze up. She would get paralyzed around it. And she would even, it was so bad for her that she would even freeze up on the podcast interview. She tried to do a
Right.
few and she's just like, maybe this just isn't for me. And when we started working together, she's like, I don't even know if I want to do this, but I know, like everybody says you're the best at this, so I'm going to go. And what we uncovered was she just didn't have clarity of her message. She
Ah,
didn't really know how to communicate what she does. She just does it. And
right.
so having that clarity led to confidence. And the confidence led to like that consistency and the ability to be active, even if it wasn't perfect, in front of new audiences, because she had a way to communicate her value. She had a way to communicate to her ideal clients and have ways to talk about it so that she felt like would be interesting. And I think
Absolutely.
everybody has that thing where it's like, it's maybe it's about being interesting, or maybe it's just about being clear or knowing what to say. How do I answer that question? It just comes with
Mhm.
having the clarity.
And it's also, I think, about like the audience hearing the authenticity in your voice, even if you
Yeah.
stumble, right? Like I remember my first summit, we were talking about how you just completed your own summit, your own telesummit recently. And my first summit, one of my interviews, I listened to it back and I'm like, ugh, yuck, like it sounds horrible, but I got so many messages from people who were like, that was amazing. And me listening back with my critical, mind of myself, hated it, but people love the authenticity. So
Yeah.
when you work with women, I'm sure you help them kind of bring not just the messaging together, but the mindset around being authentic and not being perfect, right?
Yeah, and there's some strategy, that's like part of clarity is how are you going to create a framework that you can communicate to somebody? So knowing how to communicate about your program in a memorable, easy to say way. We call them showstoppers. Do you have little sentences or phrases that you can say that really bring your authentic message and your authentic work, but also is going to be interesting and intriguing to your listeners? Stories. Can you tell
Mhm.
stories in a way that are interesting and valuable, not just like, oh my God, when does this story end? Like the story's going on and on,
Right.
right? I'm sure you had those
Uh-huh.
guests at some time. And so it's really just about learning little pieces that you can plug in that bring your message to life. And again, like keep you in that authentic space, but also it's not just about being liked. It's about do you have a way to communicate what you do so that you can pull interested people towards you? And that's where I know a lot of people, they want that extra. It's like, okay, can this actually help me get clients? Yes, it can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was an amazing, amazing, you know, I love that you broke down the four ways that women hold themselves back, entrepreneurs hold themselves back around visibility. I know that you have something to share with everyone, a juicy freebie that you have prepared for us. So can you share that?
Yeah, I have a framework that I've personally used over and over and over again, and I teach this to my clients. It's the baseline of my Authority Accelerator program, and it's called the 7-step framework to borrow $1 million visibility. And $1 million visibility, just think these are the visibility streams that are out there that when you tap into them, you have this compounding effect that keeps growing your business over and over and over again. So if you go over to melaniebenson.com, and so melaniebenson.com/SCA podcast. So that is simple client attraction. What you'll do is you'll find the free download there. And it just walks you through the 7 components plus a bonus tip on
Yay.
what I do to help grow my business using these strategies.
Thank you for that. Now, can you share with us one takeaway, one quick little nugget that you feel we should take away from this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to authenticity because I think it's a word that's used a lot, but a lot of times people are like, what is, like, do I try to be authentic?
Right.
It's like there's no trying to be authentic. Like authenticity is really like you having the self-assuredness to be totally you. And if you don't feel like you can be totally you and your messaging or the way you deliver something isn't actually feeling like you, then somebody somewhere is guiding you to be a mini me. They're trying to mold you into their strategy. And this is one of the things I believe in every fiber of my being. A good coach is not only going to help you be successful, they're going to keep you aligned in your authenticity. And that is where sustainable growth and amplified power comes from, your authenticity.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thanks for
I
having
will
me.
definitely invite you back on, and I appreciate everything you shared with us today. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Simple Client Attraction for Coaches. Want to launch your own interview style podcast? Grab the free Launch an Interview Style Podcast Guide at sandrafidelis.com/podcast guide, or point your camera at the QR code on the video to download. I hope today's bite-sized strategies have given you practical ideas you can implement right away in your coaching business. If you'd like to watch the video of our interview, then head on over to simpleclientattractionforcoaches.com. Did you find value in today's episode? If so, please share it with other coaches in your network who could benefit from these straightforward, bite-sized strategies. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us. Until next time, remember, client attraction doesn't have to be complicated. Small, consistent actions can lead to remarkable results. I'll see you in our next episode with more simple strategies to help your coaching business thrive.